I admit I am not really familiar with Jonah Rock. That's how you start off a 10 out of 10 review. Very awful and cringe pro wrestler with shitty looking offense and a cringy, smug, self-righteous, virtue signaling presence on social media. Wow. You know, Bronson Reed, one of our favorites here on the Mr. Warren Hayes show. You know, former member of TMDK over in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Was also defeated Kazuchika Okada one-on-one, clean as a sheet in the middle of the ring, and you know, right on the lion's mark, as they say. He was interviewed by Sean Ross Sapp over at the Fightful, and Bronson Reed hopes his 6 tsunami segment is his Austin 316 moment, right? And this is the segment where they had him flying off of the top turnbuckle one night on the Monday Night Raw, and he did 6 of these big belly splashes onto Seth Rollins, which knocked Seth Rollins out for a while. It's a little goofy comparison. The comparison's a little goofy, because the difference between this, like, here's the thing, is that Steve Austin's popularity was simmering. It was bubbling. He was already on the come up, which is why Vince had him win the King of the Ring, right? He was already on his way there. So first and foremost, you don't feel that with Bronson Reed at all. I'm not seeing any big buzz regarding Bronson Reed. From the get-go, he and Steve Austin are not in the same position, right? And the difference between the 316 moment and this is that the 316 moment was completely off script, ad-libbed, and people went nuts for it because of Steve Austin's charisma. And when it was learned afterwards that he went off script, it added to the mystique of it. It added to the mystique that this guy was just like this loose cannon and was ready to do anything, right? Whereas this was a perfectly scripted, down the line, 100% WWE beatdown. What is a near comparison? All right, I think I have it. A near comparison to Austin 316, right? Where it's just something that happens out of the blue, unscripted, unprepared, and puts that wrestler over. Becky Lynch getting her face caved in, right? By Nia Jax. I think it's actually a pretty good comparison the more I think about it. Because Becky was, you know, her wave of support by the fans was already there. They were rejecting the heel turn. So she had crowd support behind her. Like, she was already simmering as well. And then this unscripted moment happens. And then it's like, okay, that's it. This is it. This is where she becomes the next big thing. This guy is basically following the script. He's basically following everything to a T. There's nothing that he brings specifically to the table outside of his size, and he's not really over. Is it me? This guy's not really over. When's the last time Bronson Reed was on a WWE pay-per-view? Let's pull up the cage match. So let's see. Let's say we do. Okay, we're gonna stick to WWE. Where are we? World Wrestling Entertainment, and we're gonna do PPVs and PLEs, right? That's what we want. Okay, he was in the Intercontinental. Okay, see, that's why I didn't remember, because I don't watch the Saudi shows. So he did the Saudi show in a triple threat match against Chad Gable and Sami Zayn. So that's why I don't remember. And didn't he get pinned? He got pinned, right? And then the Royal Rumble, which everyone does. Then it goes all the way back to last year for the SummerSlam Battle Royal, and then another three-way match, and then the Elimination Chamber in 2023 when he returned. I mean, we're not exactly driving it home here. We're not exactly like captivating the attention of fans everywhere. I don't see any outcry for more Bronson Reed. I don't see like the hashtag, more Bronson or save Bronson or book Bronson or whatever. I don't see it. How does all this look like? 6.83 on the cage match. We got 2 10s for Bronson Reed. 2 people consider him to be a perfect wrestler. Consider him to be on the level of Hiroshi Tanahashi or, Will Ospreay or Karl Gotch. I think a 6-to-5 ratio is fine here. I think the 7 might be, I don't know. I've never really seen it in him, That guy 64, nice to see you. See, Bronson Reed is completely interchangeable to me. He hasn't done anything character-wise or in-ring-wise that stands out to me. Exactly. Now I was doing this. I was talking about his rating there, 6.83. I had it hidden like a dope, right? Because I'm a dope. I'm a big old dope. Can we get the 10? Like, here's the thing. Like, I also think 1, 2s, and 3s are a little harsh. I want to see a 10. I want to see a 10 rating here. Here we go. From 2023 by Wrestling Fan 619. One of the best big men in wrestling. Bronson Reed rules everywhere he goes. Whether it's on Raw, in NXT, or in Impact, and NJPW as Jonah. He fits well everywhere and thrives everywhere. Wait a second. Where is this Jonah Bronson Reed TNA run? Am I blocking something out? Impact 2022. Oh, that's right. Okay. I remember now that I see the Monsters Ball match. I'm like, sure. See, that's what you call relegating something to memory, folks. And usually it's not because you have a 10 out of 10 wrestler, fitting in well and thriving everywhere. Yeah, I mean, look, there's nothing here, right? It's just there was another 10 out of 10 rating. Where is it? Oh, it's the first one by Malay Boy. I admit I am not really familiar with Jonah Rock. Well, that's starting out. That's how you start off a 10 out of 10 review. Yeah, I'm going to give that guy 10 out of 10. Not super familiar with him, though. When PWG announced him as the participant of BOLA 2017, I immediately watched some of his highlight, and I'm impressed a little bit. Okay, just going to break this down very slowly. First of all, good on Malay Boy to have sought it out, right? This is something that I bemoan, and I'm not going to spit on that. I'm not going to shame Malay Boy for this. If the guy was like, Jonah Rock, I've never heard of this individual. I'm going to seek out some matches. Like, if more people did that today, I think the world would be a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. But let's continue the review. But this doesn't sound like a 10 out of 10 review when you're saying, I looked at his highlights, not his matches, his highlights, and I'm impressed a little bit. Again, this doesn't ring out as a 10 out of 10 review. His match with Keith Lee really changed my mind. Malay Boy has trouble with verb tenses, right? His match with Keith Lee really changed my mind about him. He is great wrestler, that rich with experience, and he quite agile for a big guy. The man can also adapt in different style of wrestler like Zack Sabre Jr. and Adam Brooks. I would challenge that he probably cannot wrestle a Zack Sabre Jr. style, but good, good. That's fine. Like, he can wrestle Zack Sabre Jr., right? But yeah, I mean, not necessarily, I don't know. He doesn't read like a 10 out of 10 review to me. We got some ones. Let's see if let's go on the other side of the. Oh, look, we have a 2 right here from Quack7183, which was just this year, just in June this year, right on the cusp of the 6 new tsunamis, right? Just on the cusp of him bursting onto the scene with the 6 tsunamis that would redefine the trajectory of his career. Here we go, from Quack7183. Boring! Bronson Reed is super boring. His in-ring work is mid at best, and he sucks at cutting promos. He's a TV changer. I think he meant TV. He's a TV. I think he meant TV channel changer. Because if you change your TV because Bronson Reed was on it, now I think there's a level of psychosis on your side that you sort of, you're watching, you're sitting in your living room, you're watching the wrestling, right? And then Bronson Reed comes on your screen and you're, oh, God damn it, not another one. You go and you unhook it, you throw it out the window, and you go to Best Buy the next day to get another one. That's a TV changer. That's severe. Maybe that's why the guy's like 2 out of 10. Brother, every time you're on my TV, I have to change my screen because it's tainted. Bronson Reed has tainted my television screen, and I have to go get another one. He's a TV changer. Sometimes I don't feel like watching Raw. Tell me about it, brother. Then I give it a chance and see Bronson Reed is advertised for it, and I don't feel like watching it anymore. He also has a finish that nobody ever kicks out of. It's called the tsunami. Like, come on, really? You expect me to believe that no one can kick out of his basic finisher? Trash, boring, TV changer. Yeah, he's doubling down on the TV changer allegations. Snorefest machine that needs to leave the WWE. 2 out of 10. That feels like a 2 out of 10 review. That feels like a reviewer is like, I really don't like you. When a new Triple H re-signing is announced and fans get all excited, like, oh my God, Bronson Reed is back. Yeah, and the cry faces. And then they're like, when will he have his 316 moment? Thrives everywhere. Literally forgot about his Impact run until right now. And that was only 2 years ago. Yeah, exactly, man. Let's do another one. We got a 1 out of 1 here. A 1 out of 10, not 1 out of 1. This was just this April by Cutie Suzuki. Genuinely just insanely forgettable. I can't name a more forgettable wrestler out there. Every time he shows up on screen, I genuinely forgot he ever existed. And he was the exact same way when I first saw him back in New Japan and Impact. Outside of his forgettable on-screen appearance, he just doesn't have good matches. Not a single match of his is better than somewhat adequate outside of his New Japan matches, which, let's face it, are because of the opponents he's going up against. It's obviously he wants to be on the level of Big Van Vader or Bam Bam Bigelow. I'd say more Vader than Bigelow. He doesn't have the mobility to be Bigelow. But really, all he is a wrestler. As a wrestler, is if Earthquake didn't have a memorable gimmick. Oi. No John Tenta slander is going to be happening here. John Tenta was a tremendous big man. And nope, we're not standing for this Cutie Suzuki. Let's continue. I would love to be proven wrong on him, and I hope I am. But for right now, he's remarkably forgettable, which I consider almost worse than just being a bad wrestler, especially in the WWE. I like how Cutie Suzuki finishes by saying the WWE at the end. That's a tremendous point though that they bring up, the forgettable part, he doesn't pop off screen. Like, the guy has all the size, right? He's huge, but he doesn't pop off. He doesn't pop through your screen. You'd probably have to have, that's probably, then he'd really be a TV changer if he did. But he's got, he really doesn't have that charisma. Vader was a guy, you just see him, you're like, holy shit. Like, and I would argue John Tenta as well. These were these were huge dudes with a tremendous amount of charisma, with some tremendous crowd connection on top of that, right? Like, it was more than just put a big man on TV. And I kind of feel that's what Jonah Rock is. Just a guy. Here's another one review here by Wilfred Zaha. In 2023, nothing about this guy is good. Terrible on the mic, terrible work, terrible wrestler. Doesn't even seem imposing unless against a much smaller opponent. I mean, he's a big, thick lad, right? But he's not that tall. Like, he's not, Vader was a huge guy, LMZ 2020 in 2021 wrote, very awful and cringe pro wrestler with shitty looking offense and a cringy, smug, self-righteous virtue signaling presence on social media. Wow. And the last thing I wanted was to see this guy stink up New Japan Pro Wrestling. Well, I mean, not a lot of us were really excited to see him. I thought he did fine. He had a nice little run. I don't know. Not a fan of it. I'm not going to sit here and recount all the great moments, outside of the shock of beating Okada. But everyone, and I probably lost my mind as well, but I don't quite remember. But when you look back and you think about it and you look at Ghetto's booking, although sometimes it does feel like it's a Gecko that's booking New Japan, he has these patterns where he's going to have like one of the top guys be defeated by a monster in the G1. It was a G1 loss, don't forget. So this is the kind of stuff where it's like, oh shit. Oh no, it wasn't a G1 loss. He defeated Okada outside the G1 and Okada got his win back on the G. Oh Christ, I can't remember. Or is it the other way around? He beat Okada in the G1 and then just before he left for the Fed, he had a match against Okada and Okada got his win back, right? Isn't that what it is? They're like 1-1. We need the rubber match. We need the rubber match. We'll do it at Wrestle Dynasty on July 5th this year. Never mind bringing in Shinsuke Nakamura. Never mind all this bullshit. Bring in Jonah Rock and Okada one more time. So Okada can get the rubber match. Anyway, that's Jonah for you. Bronson Reed just dropped it all and ran back to Paul the minute he got the call.